The first time Mina saw the rock house again, her hands forgot how to stay still. The road that led to it was thinner than she remembered, like it had been pulled tight by time. The trees leaned over the path as if they were listening. The air smelled of dry leaves and old rain, even though the sky was clear. Mina parked her car beside a broken stone marker and sat there for a moment, staring at the hill. The rock house sat halfway up, carved into the slope like a secret that refused to be buried. People in town called it many things: the cave home, the stone nest, the house in the rock. But to Mina it was simpler than all those names. It was the last place her husband, Sam, ever breathed. She hadn't come back in 6 years. Not since the day the police drove her down this same road while she stared through the window, waiting to wake up from a nightmare that did not end. Now she had returned because of a letter. It arrived 2 days ago, plain and thin, with no return address. The paper inside held only a few lines, written in a familiar handwriting that made Mina's chest tighten like a fist. Mina, if you ever want the full truth, come back alone. Bring the old key. You will know what it opens. No name. No signature. Only those words. Mina had not touched the old key in years. It lived in a small tin box in her closet, buried under old photos and a scarf that still smelled faintly like Sam's soap. The key was heavy and dark, with a jagged tooth that looked handmade. It was the kind of key that belonged to something old, something stubborn. Sam had once said it was for emergencies. He never explained more, and Mina never pushed. Their marriage had been full of ordinary days, and Mina believed ordinary days were strong enough to hold everything. She did not realize how many secrets could hide inside ordinary. Now, sitting at the foot of the hill, she held that key in her palm and tried to breathe. She could turn around. She could drive away, throw the letter into the nearest trash can, and pretend it never came. But the truth had its own gravity. It pulled her out of the car. Mina locked the doors, adjusted the strap of her bag, and started walking uphill. With each step, memories rose like dust. The last time she walked this path, it was raining hard, and she was running. She remembered slipping in the mud, her shoes soaking through. She remembered the sound of someone shouting her name. She remembered seeing a cluster of flashing lights at the top, blue and red, cutting the darkness into pieces. That night, they wouldn't let her go inside. Mrs. Hale, an officer had said, voice gentle, hands firm on her shoulders. Please, stay back. She had fought him anyway. Not with strength, but with panic. And then the world had gone quiet and far away, and she had understood without being told. Sam was gone. They called it an accident. They said there had been a collapse in the back section of the rock house, near the storage rooms. Sam had been working on repairs, alone. A stone beam gave way. It happened fast. They said he didn't suffer. They said many things people say when they are trying to build a soft wall around something sharp. But Mina never believed it was that simple. She never said that out loud. She never accused anyone. She didn't have the energy to fight the town, the police reports, the careful faces at the funeral. She did what people expected. She cried. She signed papers. She packed Sam's clothes into boxes and gave away his tools because she couldn't bear to see them. Then she left. She moved to a different city, started a new job, learned how to smile again in public. She dated the idea of normal life but never married it. She did not tell people about the rock house. She did not tell people about the way grief could sit in a room like a quiet animal, watching everything you do. Most of all, she did not tell people about the key. Halfway up the hill, her legs started to shake. Not from the climb. From the closer it got. The rock house came into full view, and Mina stopped. It looked smaller. Or maybe Mina had grown larger, filled with years she didn't have then. The front was a simple wooden door set into stone, with a small window beside it. A metal lantern hung crooked above the entrance, rusted now, as if it had been crying for a long time. Plants climbed the rock face, fingers of green trying to cover the scars. Mina walked the last few steps slowly, like approaching an animal she wasn't sure would bite. The wooden porch creaked under her feet. She placed her hand on the door. It was cold, even in daylight. She whispered without meaning to, Sam. Nothing answered, but she felt the echo of his name inside her bones. Mina took out a regular house key first, the one she'd kept on a ring since the day they bought the place. She slid it into the lock. It turned with effort, as if the lock was surprised to be used. The door opened. A smell rushed out, thick and old. Dust, stone, and something faintly metallic. The air inside was cooler than outside, like the house kept its own weather. Mina stepped in. The main room was carved into the rock itself, a wide space with a low ceiling. Sam had decorated it simply back then, a worn rug, a small table, shelves made from reclaimed wood. Mina had added small things, soft things. A plant by the window. A stack of books. A bowl for keys. Now everything was exactly where she remembered, but wrong. Dust covered every surface in a soft blanket. The plant was gone, of course. The books lay in a collapsed pile like tired bones. Spiderwebs draped the corners. The rug was still there, but faded and stiff. Mina stood still, listening. The silence was not empty. It pressed against her ears. She moved farther in, careful with her steps. On the wall, there was a framed photo of her and Sam on their wedding day. The glass was cracked down the middle, splitting their smiling faces into two halves. Mina stared at it and felt her throat burn. She turned away quickly. She could not start with that. She came for the truth. The letter said she would know what the old key opened. Mina tried to think of every lock in the house. They had a small metal cabinet. A closet in the back. A storage room with a padlock. But the old key was too heavy for those. She walked toward the kitchen corner, where the counter was carved from a stone slab. The metal sink still sat there, dull and stained. Mina remembered Sam standing here, washing dishes badly, flicking water at her when she teased him. Her mouth twitched with a painful almost smile. On the counter, something lay under a layer of dust. A folded paper. Mina's heart kicked. She stepped closer and brushed dust away with the side of her hand. A note. Not the letter she received, but something older, written on yellowed paper. The handwriting was Sam's. Mina's fingers trembled as she opened it. Mina, if you're reading this, it means you came back. I'm sorry for that. I hoped you'd never need to. She swallowed hard, eyes blurring. The note continued. Don't trust the official story. Don't trust the friendly faces. If anything happens to me, go to the back wall behind the old shelf. Use the heavy key. And whatever you find, promise me you'll leave before dark. Mina read it twice, like the words might change. Before dark. Her gaze lifted to the back wall. In the far end of the main room, there was an old wooden shelf built against stone. It held jars once, then tools, then odd objects Sam collected from flea markets. Mina remembered it clearly because Sam always said it was temporary, but it never moved. Now it sat there, dusty but solid, like it had been waiting. Mina walked to it slowly. Each step felt like walking into a deeper part of the past. She reached the shelf and put her hands on its sides. It was heavier than she expected. Still, she tried to pull it. It didn't budge. Her chest tightened with frustration, then fear. What if she couldn't do it? What if the shelf was stuck forever? What if the truth was locked behind something she didn't have the strength to move? Then she noticed something near the floor, a small metal ring set into the stone, partly hidden behind the shelf's bottom edge. Mina crouched and wiped away dust. A ring handle. Like a hidden latch. Her heart hammered. Sam had never shown her this. She hooked her fingers through the ring and pulled. There was a click. The shelf shifted forward slightly, just enough to reveal a narrow seam in the rock wall behind it. Mina's breath caught. She pulled again, harder this time, and the shelf slid forward on hidden tracks with a low grinding sound. Behind it was a stone door. Not a normal door. A thick slab fitted into the rock, with a keyhole carved into it. The keyhole was old and deep, like it belonged to another century. Mina stared at it, feeling the hair on her arms rise. This was what the key was for. Mina reached into her bag and took out the heavy key. It felt warmer now, as if her hand had given it life. She lined it up with the keyhole and pushed it in. It slid in smoothly, like it had been waiting. Mina paused. Her mind flashed to the last line of Sam's note, "Whatever you find, promise me you'll leave before dark." She looked back toward the window. Daylight still streamed in, pale and cold. She had time. Mina turned the key. The stone door made a sound like a sigh. Then it unlocked. Mina placed both hands on the edge and pulled. At first, nothing happened. Then the slab shifted, opening just enough for her to wedge her fingers in. Dust fell from the top. A cold draft spilled out, carrying a smell like wet stone and old metal. She pulled again, and the hidden door swung open slowly, revealing darkness beyond. A narrow passage. Mina stared into it, throat dry. Sam had a secret room. Sam had been keeping something from her inside the rock house. Her legs wanted to back away, but her mind pushed her forward. Mina reached into her bag and took out a small flashlight. She clicked it on, and a thin beam of light cut into the passage. The walls were raw rock. The floor sloped downward. Mina stepped in. The air grew colder immediately, wrapping around her like damp cloth. The passage was tight, forcing her shoulders inward. Her footsteps sounded too loud. As she walked, her thoughts spun. Why hadn't Sam told her? Why had he written a note like this? Why did the town say it was an accident? The passage ended in a small chamber. Mina stepped inside and aimed the flashlight around. The room was carved from rock like the main house, but it felt different. It was not a living space. It was a hiding space. A metal table stood in the center, dusty but sturdy. Against one wall was a locked cabinet. Against another were shelves with boxes, all labeled in neat handwriting. Mina's chest tightened again. This wasn't random. This was planned. Her flashlight beam landed on something that made her blood run cold. On the wall, pinned under a rusted nail, was a map of the area. The town, the roads, the lake. Red circles marked certain places. Lines connected them like a web. And beside the map was a photo. A photo of Mina. Not a normal photo. It looked like it had been taken from a distance. Mina was leaving a grocery store, her hair tied back, a bag in her hand. The picture was years old. Back when they still lived here. Mina stared, unable to breathe. Why was her photo down here? Her eyes moved to the table. There were notebooks stacked there, their covers worn. Mina reached for the top one and opened it. The first page was filled with writing. Sam's writing. Mina's fingers shook as she read the first line. If anyone finds this, it means I failed. And the people who did this will pretend it was an accident. Mina's heart pounded so hard she felt dizzy. She flipped to the next page, reading fast now, almost tearing the paper. Sam wrote about strange deliveries at night. About unknown men parking near the rock house. About hearing digging sounds beyond the back wall. About a person in town who pretended to be friendly but asked too many questions. Mina's eyes skimmed words like cache, roots, hidden storage, warning, don't tell Mina. Don't tell Mina. Her stomach twisted. She turned the page again, and her flashlight beam shook across the paper. Then she saw a name written in larger letters than the rest. Gus. Mina froze. Gus was Sam's friend. Everyone in town knew him. He owned a repair shop and used to wave at Mina every morning when she drove past. He had stood at Sam's funeral with his hat in his hands, eyes wet, whispering, he was a good man. Mina turned pages until she found more. Sam wrote, Gus knows. Gus introduced them. Gus says it will be quick money, just storage, no harm. Gus lied. Mina's mouth went dry. A sound behind her made her spin. It was faint. A soft scrape, like a shoe against stone. Mina held her breath, listening. The passage behind her was dark, but her flashlight beam caught nothing moving. She told herself it was her imagination. Then, from somewhere above, she heard a dull thud, as if something heavy had been placed on the floor of the main room. Mina's skin prickled. Someone was in the house. Her mind raced. The road was empty when she arrived. She hadn't seen another car. She hadn't heard footsteps. But this place had its own ways of hiding things. Mina backed toward the passage, flashlight shaking in her hand. Another sound came, clearer now. A slow creak. Like the main door being pushed. Mina's pulse slammed in her ears. She looked at the notebooks, the map, the photo of herself. She could not leave without something. She needed proof. Her eyes landed on the locked cabinet. It was metal, old, with a small keyhole. Mina reached into her bag again, fingers desperate, searching for anything she could use. But she had only the heavy key, and it didn't fit the cabinet. She tried anyway, hands shaking, but the key refused. The creak above continued, steady and slow. Someone was moving around the main room. Mina snatched the top notebook and shoved it into her bag. Then she grabbed the photo of herself and folded it quickly. She didn't know why, only that it felt important. She moved to the map, ripped it from the nail, and rolled it up. Dust fell into her eyes and made them water. She didn't wipe them. She stepped into the passage, breathing shallow. The noises above grew louder. A footstep. Then another. Mina's mind screamed at her to run, but the passage was narrow and sloped. She couldn't run without falling. She forced herself to move quickly but quietly. The flashlight beam danced. Halfway up, her shoulder bumped the rock wall. The sound echoed. Above, the footsteps paused. Mina stopped, heart hammering. A voice drifted down, low and calm, like someone speaking to themselves. "Mina," the voice said. Her blood turned to ice. They knew she was here. Mina continued climbing, her legs shaking. She reached the stone door at the top of the passage. It was still open, waiting like a mouth. She stepped into the main room and aimed her flashlight around. The shelf was still pulled forward. The hidden door was wide open. Anyone could see it. Mina hurried to push the shelf back into place. Her hands slipped on dust. The shelf scraped loudly. She winced. Then she heard the voice again, closer now. "This is not how I wanted you to learn." Mina turned. A man stood near the kitchen corner, half in shadow. He didn't rush her. He didn't raise his voice. He simply watched her like he had been expecting this moment for a long time. Mina recognized him immediately. Gus. His hat was in his hands, just like at the funeral. But his eyes were dry now, and his face was calm in a way that made Mina feel sick. "You shouldn't have come," Gus said. Mina backed away, keeping the flashlight aimed at him like a weak weapon. "You sent the letter," she said, voice thin. Gus didn't answer right away. He took a slow breath. "I tried to keep it quiet," he said. "I tried to let you live your life." Mina's fingers tightened around the flashlight. "Then why call me back?" Gus stepped closer. "Because someone else was going to." Mina's heart tripped. What does that mean? Gus looked toward the window, where the day was already shifting, the light turning slightly dull. "There are people who want what Sam hid. They think you might know. They think you might have it." Mina's chest burned. "I didn't even know there was a hidden room." Gus's eyes softened for half a second, then hardened again. Sam was stubborn. He wouldn't cooperate. He thought he could fix things by himself. Mina swallowed, tears rising but not falling. Did you do it?" Gus's jaw tightened. "No. But I started it." That sentence hit Mina like a slap. Gus took a step closer, and Mina stepped back until her back hit the stone wall. "I introduced him," Gus said quietly. "I showed him the easy money. I told him it was safe. And when he tried to back out, they didn't like that." Mina's voice shook. "They killed him." Gus's eyes flicked away. "He died because of what he discovered." Mina's throat tightened so hard she could barely breathe. "And you stood at his funeral." Gus's face twisted, like something inside him finally hurt. "I did," he admitted. "Because I was sorry." Mina's hands shook. "Sorry doesn't bring him back." Gus nodded slowly. "I know." A silence stretched between them, thick and sharp. Then Gus said, "What did you take from the room?" Mina froze. He knew. Mina didn't answer. Gus's eyes narrowed slightly. "Mina, please. This is bigger than you think." Mina forced herself to speak. "If it's bigger, why are you alone?" Gus's mouth pressed into a thin line. "Because if they knew you were here right now, they'd already be on this hill." Mina's breath caught. Gus lowered his voice. "Give me what you took. I can keep you safe. I can get you out. Mina stared at him, heart racing. She wanted to believe him because believing was easier than thinking. But Sam's notes, the photo, the map, all of it screamed one thing. Gus was not safe. Mina shifted her bag behind her, trying to keep it out of his view. Gus's gaze dropped to the bag anyway. He took another step. Mina's fingers tightened around the heavy key in her pocket, the only solid thing she had left. And outside, the daylight continued to fade, inch by inch, as if the world itself was warning her. Sam's note echoed in her mind again. Leave before dark. Mina's pulse roared. Because she suddenly understood something that made her stomach drop. The letter didn't bring her back for closure. It brought her back for a reason. And the reason was standing right in front of her, watching her bag like it contained a life he still wanted to control. Mina raised the flashlight higher, forcing the beam into Gus's eyes. Back up, she said. Gus blinked against the light. Mina, don't do this. Mina's voice shook, but she kept it firm. Back up. Gus lifted one hand slightly, like he was calming a scared animal. But his body didn't move away. Instead, he said something that made Mina's heart stop. He hid one more thing, Mina. And you're standing right next to it. Mina's eyes widened. Her back was against the stone wall. The same wall where the shelf had been. Gus's gaze drifted to a spot near her shoulder. There, he said softly. Right there. Mina turned her head slowly, following his eyes. In the rock beside her, almost invisible under dust, was a small carved mark. A symbol. A triangle with a line through it. Mina had never noticed it before. But now, standing in the fading light, she felt the truth pressing in from every direction. The rock house was not just where Sam died. It was where he hid what could ruin someone powerful. And Mina had just stepped into the middle of it. Mina did not move. The symbol on the rock wall looked simple, almost careless. But the way Gus stared at it made her chest tighten. He did not look proud. He looked afraid. That mark, Mina said slowly, keeping her voice steady. What is it? Gus lowered his eyes for a moment, as if choosing words from a place he did not want to visit. It is a signal, he said. For people who know how to look. Mina pressed her back harder against the stone. The rock felt colder now. A signal for what? For access, Gus replied. For protection. For danger. Mina shook her head. You're not making sense. Gus let out a tired breath. Sam figured out something he was never supposed to. This house was built on the wrong place. Mina's pulse jumped. What do you mean wrong place? Gus glanced toward the hidden shelf, then toward the door. Years ago, before you and Sam came here, this land was used quietly. Not legally. Storage. Transfer. People paid to keep things hidden in plain sight. Mina remembered the words from Sam's notebook. Roots. Storage. Cash. You mean smuggling, Mina said. Gus did not deny it. At first, it was small. No one got hurt. Or at least that is what we told ourselves. Mina's jaw tightened. And Sam. He found the chamber behind the rock while fixing a leak, Gus said. He thought it was just old work. Then he found records. Names. Dates. Enough to make powerful people nervous. Mina's chest ached. So they killed him. Gus shook his head quickly. No. Not like that. Then how? Mina demanded. Gus looked at her, really looked at her, and Mina saw something raw in his eyes. They pressured him. They threatened him. They tried to make him cooperate. Sam refused. Mina's hands trembled. And you let it happen. Gus's voice dropped. I tried to warn him. By introducing him in the first place, Mina shot back. Gus flinched. Yes. The room felt smaller. The fading daylight made the stone walls seem closer, like they were listening. You said someone else was going to contact me, Mina said. Who? Gus hesitated. That hesitation told her enough. You're still working with them, Mina said. Gus looked down. I am trying to keep people alive. Mina laughed once, sharp and bitter. Sam didn't survive. Gus stepped back at last, giving her space, but his eyes stayed on her bag. Mina, if you walk out of here with those papers, you will not be safe. They will follow you. They will not stop. Mina thought of the photo taken without her knowing. Of the map with red circles. Of Sam writing "Don't tell Mina" like he was trying to protect her even while lying. You already watched me once, Mina said quietly. How long? Gus's mouth tightened. Long enough to know you are stronger than you think. That made her stomach twist. You watched me suffer. I watched you survive, Gus said. The words did not comfort her. Mina shifted her weight, thinking. The door was behind Gus. The hidden chamber was behind her. She was trapped between past and present. You sent the letter, Mina said. Why now? Gus rubbed his forehead. Because the land is being sold. Mina's heart skipped. Sold. A developer, Gus said. They will tear the rock house apart. When that happens, everything hidden here will come out. Records. Evidence. Mina understood. And they think I might have something Sam hid. Yes, Gus said. And do I? Mina asked. Gus studied her face carefully. I do not know. Sam was careful. He trusted you more than anyone. Mina swallowed. Then why didn't he tell me? Gus's voice softened. Because if you knew, you would have been in danger sooner. Mina closed her eyes briefly. The truth hurt more than the lie. Outside, a bird cried sharply, then went quiet. The light through the window dimmed further. Before dark, Mina whispered. Gus followed her gaze to the window. If you leave now, he said, I can delay them. Buy you time. Why would you help me? Mina asked. Gus's shoulders sagged. Because I owe Sam more than I can ever repay. Mina searched his face for deception. She found fear, guilt, and something like regret. But regret did not equal trust. You want what I took, Mina said. Gus nodded slowly. Yes. And if I give it to you? I will destroy it, he said. No one needs to see it. Mina shook her head. Sam didn't die for it to be destroyed. Gus's eyes hardened. He died because it existed. Mina took a breath, steadying herself. Then it needs to be seen. Gus stepped forward again. You do not understand what you are stepping into. Mina met his gaze. I understand enough. She took a step sideways, slowly, edging toward the door. Gus noticed and shifted his weight to block her. Mina, he warned. She raised the flashlight again. Move. Gus sighed. You always were stubborn. Mina's heart raced. So was Sam. Gus hesitated. That hesitation was all she needed. Mina bolted. She ran for the door, her shoulder brushing past Gus. He reached out, his fingers grazing her arm, but she pulled free. The door burst open, and cold evening air rushed in. Mina flew down the porch steps, nearly slipping on loose gravel. She did not look back. Behind her, Gus shouted her name. She reached her car and fumbled with the keys, hands shaking so badly she dropped them. She snatched them up and unlocked the door, throwing herself inside. The engine roared to life. As she pulled away, she glanced in the mirror. Gus stood on the porch, watching her go, his face unreadable. Mina drove fast, heart pounding. The road twisted downhill, trees blurring past. She did not slow until she reached the main road. Only then did she pull over, chest heaving. She leaned forward, pressing her forehead against the steering wheel. Sam's face rose in her mind, smiling, gentle, secretive. What were you protecting? She whispered. Her phone buzzed suddenly. Mina jumped, grabbing it. An unknown number. She stared at the screen, dread creeping in. She answered. Hello. Silence at first. Then a voice she did not recognize. Calm. Polite. Mina Hale, the voice said. You visited the rock house today. Her blood ran cold. Who is this? A concerned party, the voice replied. We believe you may have taken something that does not belong to you. Mina's grip tightened. I took my husband's things. The voice chuckled softly. Your husband involved himself in matters beyond his understanding. Mina swallowed. You're the ones Gus warned me about. We are people who prefer order, the voice said. Disorder attracts attention. Mina's heart hammered. What do you want? We want you to return what you took, the voice said. And we want you to stop asking questions. Mina laughed weakly. And if I don't? The voice paused. Then this becomes uncomfortable for everyone. The line went dead. Mina sat frozen, phone pressed to her ear. They were already watching her. She started the car again, mind racing. She needed help. Real help. Not Gus. Not the town. She drove to her apartment and locked the door behind her, every sound making her flinch. She spread the items she took across her kitchen table. The notebook. The folded photo. The rolled map. Mina opened the notebook again, reading slower this time. Sam's words felt closer here, safer but heavier. Near the back, she found something she had missed before. A page with only one sentence written in bold strokes. If anything happens to me, trust the woman by the water. Mina frowned. The woman by the water. Her mind jumped to the lake near the town. Sam used to walk there in the evenings. She turned the page. There was a name. Lena. Mina's breath caught. Lena was a journalist. She had interviewed Sam once about unusual land formations near the rock house. Mina remembered her clearly. Sharp eyes. Kind voice. Curious mind. She asked too many questions, Sam had said at the time, half amused. Mina grabbed her phone and searched. Lena still worked nearby. Still wrote about local issues. Still cared. Mina hesitated only a moment before dialing. Lena answered on the third ring. Hello. This is Mina Hale, Mina said quickly. Sam's wife. There was a pause. Mina, Lena said softly. I am so glad you called. Mina's heart skipped. You know something. Yes, Lena replied. And I have been waiting for you. They agreed to meet the next morning, at the lake. Mina barely slept. Every sound outside made her sit up. Every shadow looked like a threat. At dawn, she drove to the lake, parking near the old dock. Mist hung low over the water, turning the world grey and quiet. Lena stood near the edge, hands in her coat pockets. She looked older than Mina remembered. More tired. But her eyes were sharp. Mina, she said, stepping forward. Mina nodded. Sam trusted you. Lena's face softened. I wish he trusted me sooner. They sat on a bench overlooking the water. Mina showed her everything. The notebook. The map. The photo. Lena read in silence, her jaw tightening. This is bigger than I thought, Lena said finally. Sam uncovered part of a network that spans beyond this town. Mina's stomach dropped. Can you expose it? Lena nodded slowly. Yes. But it will be dangerous. Mina met her gaze. It already is. Lena looked toward the water. Once this goes public, there is no turning back. Mina thought of Gus. Of the phone call. Of Sam's warning. Then let it burn, Mina said quietly. Lena placed a hand over Mina's. Are you ready for what comes next? Mina inhaled deeply. She was afraid. She was tired. She was angry. But she was no longer in the dark. Yes, Mina said. I am. Far across the lake, a car sat parked near the trees, its engine idling. Mina did not see it. But someone else was already watching. The car near the trees did not move. Mina noticed it this time. She and Lena were halfway back to their cars when Mina felt that strange pressure again, the feeling of being observed. She stopped walking and turned her head slowly. There, she said under her breath. Lena followed her gaze. Her face tightened. You're right. The car's windows were dark. Too dark for early morning. The engine hummed low, steady, patient. They followed you, Lena said calmly. Mina's pulse picked up, but her voice stayed level. They called me last night. Lena nodded once. Then we don't waste time. They got into their cars separately, as planned. No goodbyes. No hesitation. Mina drove first. The road curved away from the lake, winding through trees and low hills. She did not speed. She remembered something Sam once said while driving. Fast draws attention. Calm survives. In the mirror, the dark car pulled out slowly and followed. Mina's fingers tightened on the steering wheel. She did not panic. She turned where she was supposed to turn, took the long route, then the short one. The car stayed behind her, never close, never far. She reached the city limits and blended into traffic. The car hesitated. Then it turned away. Mina did not slow down until she reached Lena's office building. It was small and old, squeezed between a bakery and a closed shop. Nothing about it looked powerful. That was the point. Inside, Lena locked the door and pulled the blinds halfway down. "You did well," Lena said. Mina exhaled. Her hands were shaking now. Lena gestured toward a back room. "Let's copy everything." They worked for hours. Lena scanned the notebook page by page. She photographed the map, enlarged the markings, compared them with public records. Mina watched, answered questions, filled in memories she did not know mattered. At one point, Lena paused over a page. "This," she said quietly, tapping the screen, "this connects it all." Mina leaned closer. "What is it?" "A transfer log," Lena said. "Dates, locations, names. Enough to force answers." Mina swallowed. "Including Gus?" Lena nodded. "Yes." Mina closed her eyes briefly. She remembered Gus teaching Sam how to fix an engine. Gus laughing at their wedding. Gus standing beside her when she could barely stand herself. Regret did not erase damage. By evening, Lena had prepared a full report. She sent copies to multiple trusted outlets, legal groups, and oversight agencies. Not one place. Many. If they shut one door, Lena said, 10 more stay open. Mina watched the emails send, one by one. When the last one went through, Lena leaned back. "It's out," she said. Mina felt a strange mix of relief and fear. "What happens now?" "Now they react," Lena replied. "And we stay visible." The reaction came faster than Mina expected. That night, her phone rang again. Same unknown number. She answered. "You made a mistake," the calm voice said. "No," Mina replied. "You did." Silence stretched. "You think exposure protects you," the voice said. "I know silence didn't," Mina answered. The voice lowered. "You've put people at risk." Mina's voice did not shake. "You put my husband in the ground." The call ended. 2 days later, the story broke. Then another outlet picked it up. Then another. Headlines spread across screens. Questions followed. Officials issued careful statements. Denials were made, then walked back. The rock house appeared in photos. The symbol on the wall. The hidden chamber. People started asking how many other places existed like it. Gus did not come to Mina's door. Instead, he left a message. "I'm sorry. I should have listened to him. I should have protected you." Mina did not reply. She learned later that Gus had cooperated quietly. Enough to reduce his own damage. Not enough to erase it. Mina did not celebrate. She sat in her apartment, watching rain streak down the window, thinking of Sam. Lena came by that evening with food Mina barely touched. "You did the right thing," Lena said gently. Mina nodded. "I know." "But it still hurts," Lena added. Mina looked at her. "Yes." Weeks passed. The pressure eased, slowly. The calls stopped. The car did not return. Investigations expanded. People resigned. Some names disappeared from public view. One morning, Mina drove back toward the hill. Not to the rock house. She stopped at the lower trail where Sam used to park when he went walking. The trees were greener now. The air smelled clean. She carried one thing with her. The heavy key. Mina stood for a long time, listening to the wind. "I kept it," she said softly. "Until it was safe." She walked to the edge of the trail where the ground dipped sharply, full of rocks and roots. She took a deep breath and threw the key as far as she could. It disappeared with a dull sound, swallowed by the earth. Mina felt lighter. The rock house was sealed after that. Declared unsafe. No more secrets inside. Just stone and silence. Months later, Mina moved again. Not to run. To begin. She took a small job near the coast. The water calmed her. She rented a place with wide windows and morning light. One evening, as the sun dipped low, her phone buzzed. A message from Lena. They're reopening the case officially. Sam's name is being cleared. Mina closed her eyes. Thank you, she typed. Lena replied almost instantly. He protected the truth. You finished it. Mina stood by the window, watching waves roll in and out, steady and patient. The truth had shattered her. But it also set her free. For the first time since that night on the hill, Mina felt the future open in front of her, quiet and real. And this time, she walked into it without fear.